Now to the cackling witch herself, Joy Behar from The View, whose jealousy is something to behold.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
Here is Joy objectifying the White House press secretary, saying she only has the job because she's hot.
The ever-empowering feminist Joy herself, everyone. And this is why, of course, she's on The View and not working for the most powerful man in the world.
The View hosts have got themselves into hot water again after they did the very thing they purport to be against: undermining women's success. Joy Behar stunned viewers when she said Donald Trump's press secretary, 27-year-old Karoline Leavitt, only secured her position because of her good.
Joy Behar's sudden departure from The View has sent shockwaves through the television world, leaving fans, critics, and even her co-hosts stunned. Known for her bold opinions and unfiltered commentary, Behar has faced controversies before. But this time, it seems the storm has finally caught up with her. ABC remains tight-lipped about the real reason behind her exit, but speculation is mounting over a defamation lawsuit filed by Karoline Leavitt, a press secretary for Donald Trump. Many believe this legal battle was the tipping point that led the network to cut ties with the outspoken host. The controversy began when Behar made a pointed remark about Leavitt during a segment that quickly spiraled into backlash. Now, with legal trouble brewing, the question remains: did this lawsuit force ABC's hand, or is there more to the story?
Probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
The comment was bizarre, especially coming from Joy Behar, who is as woke as they come and positions herself as a champion of feminism. This online commentator said, disgusting Joy Behar of The View accuses Karoline Leavitt of being hired only because Donald Trump thought she was a 10.
Joy Behar's remark about Karoline Leavitt, insinuating her appointment was based on looks rather than merit, set off a firestorm. Critics slammed her for hypocrisy and blatant disrespect, and as legal tensions grew, it became clear that Behar's fate at ABC was in jeopardy. The moment those words left her mouth, the atmosphere in the View studio turned icy. Gasps rippled through the audience, and even her co-hosts, accustomed to her blunt takes, looked visibly shaken. But the real explosion came online. Within minutes, social media erupted, with critics across the spectrum condemning Behar for reducing a female political figure to her appearance. As outrage mounted and a defamation lawsuit loomed, many wondered, did Behar finally cross the line? Or is there more to the story that ABC is desperately trying to keep under wraps?
Joy objectifying the White House press secretary, saying she only has the job because she's hot.
Karoline would wipe the floor with you bitter banshees any day.
How well you can do your job, and the American people agree with that sentiment. So it's about competence, skill.
For years, Joy Behar has championed women's rights, calling out sexism in politics and media. But this time, her own words came back to haunt her. Viewers were stunned by the hypocrisy. How could someone who advocates for feminism so easily diminish another woman's accomplishments? The backlash was swift and overwhelming. Hashtags like Cancel Joy Behar and Fire Joy Behar flooded Twitter, with even some of her most loyal supporters struggling to defend her. As the controversy spiraled, it became clear that Behar was facing one of the biggest reckonings of her career.
That the most competent individuals, the best and the brightest in this country, are in positions.
Joy Behar may have your jobs because of wokeness, but do not smear a competent professional woman like Karoline.
Who once admired Joy Behar's boldness now felt betrayed, seeing her remarks as dismissive and degrading. But as outrage grew, Behar remained unfazed, brushing it off as just another fleeting controversy. She seemed to believe the backlash would die down on its own. This, however, was no ordinary media storm. It was rapidly turning into a full-blown crisis. The situation escalated when Karoline Leavitt made it clear she wasn't letting this slide. She took the ultimate step: legal action. Rather than simply condemning Behar's comments, Leavitt filed a defamation lawsuit, arguing that the remarks had actively damaged her professional standing. Legal experts pointed out that this wasn't just about hurt feelings. Leavitt's case accused Behar of malicious intent, alleging she deliberately tried to undermine her credibility. For ABC, standing by Behar through past controversies had been business as usual. But this time, the stakes were far higher. A defamation lawsuit wasn't just bad press, it was a potential financial and reputational nightmare. Executives reportedly scrambled into emergency meetings, weighing their options. If they backed Behar, they'd be dragged into a costly legal battle that could tarnish the network for years. But if they parted ways, they'd lose one of The View's most polarizing and headline-grabbing stars. Now, the network faces a tough choice. Stand by Behar and risk a brutal courtroom fight, or cut ties and reshape The View without its most controversial voice.
No nonsense, and don't lie about this being her first job. We know.
Behind the scenes, tensions ran high. ABC staffers were divided. Some felt Joy Behar had finally gone too far, while others believed she was being unfairly targeted. Insiders revealed the network was weighing its options, from a temporary suspension to demanding a public apology. But the most drastic measure, forcing Behar to step down, suggested ABC saw this scandal as beyond repair. What started as another fleeting controversy had spiraled into a full-blown crisis, leaving the network scrambling to protect its reputation and decide Behar's fate.
Democrats have been labeling President Trump a to democracy for the better half of 10 years. Let's talk about how they have compared him to Hitler, one of the worst mass in the history of the world, and that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden weaponized the court system and the justice system in this country against Donald Trump in an attempt to imprison him. He sat through a courthouse for 7 weeks this past year, and the Democrats were hoping he would go to jail for it. That is real political violence that has led to 2 heinous attempts on President Trump's life that, by the grace of God, he was able to escape, and he is here with us.
ABC scrambled to contain the fallout, but before they could find a solution, boom, the bombshell dropped. Joy Behar was officially leaving The View. The network's statement was vague and suspicious, claiming Behar had decided to step away. But let's be real, no one was buying it. The timing was far too convenient, coming right after Karoline Leavitt's lawsuit and an online firestorm that refused to die down. Behind closed doors, insiders say ABC executives had already made their decision. Behar had become too much of a liability, and the network was cutting its losses before things spiraled further. Reactions to her departure were explosive. Some viewers cheered, saying Behar had gotten away with too much for too long and needed to face real consequences. To them, this was long overdue accountability, exposing what they saw as a recurring pattern of hypocrisy. Meanwhile, others argued that ABC caved under pressure, setting a dangerous precedent for free speech in television.
Yes, President Trump knows a little bit about political because he's experienced it himself. And talking about the tragic realities of that Liz Cheney and her father, Dick Cheney, have got this country into is not political. It's talking about the reality of the foreign conflicts that the Washington, D.C. establishment have sold out young Americans to for decades.
ABC's decision to part ways with Joy Behar has divided audiences. For some, it was long overdue accountability, proving that even television's most outspoken voices aren't above consequences. But for others, the anger was palpable. To them, this wasn't justice, it was corporate cowardice. A clear case of ABC bowing to political pressure rather than standing by one of its most high-profile stars. Just like that, the debate ignited. Was this a justified response to an inappropriate remark, or yet another example of cancel culture silencing a media veteran for speaking her mind? As the dust settled, the conversation shifted. Was Behar's exit truly about the lawsuit, or had ABC been looking for an excuse to push her out for good? With Behar gone, attention now turns to The View. Will ABC play it safe by bringing in a less divisive voice, or will they double down and replace her with someone just as fiery? And perhaps the biggest question, who could possibly fill the void Behar leaves behind? Love her or loathe her, there's no denying she was The View's biggest headline maker. But beyond The View, the fate of Karoline Leavitt's lawsuit now hangs in the balance. With Behar off the show, will the legal battle continue? Or will ABC step in to extinguish the fire before it spirals further? Industry insiders believe the network is already working behind the scenes to strike a deal with Leavitt, hoping to quietly settle the matter before it causes any more damage. A prolonged courtroom battle could be a PR disaster, keeping Behar's controversial remarks in the spotlight for months, maybe even years. Still, not everyone believes ABC will have an easy way out. If Leavitt refuses to settle and pushes forward, her case could set a major legal precedent, shaping how defamation lawsuits impact public figures, especially in media and entertainment. This isn't just about The View or even ABC anymore. It sparked a larger conversation. How accountable should media personalities be for their words? Should talk show hosts have the freedom to make inflammatory comments without facing repercussions? Or is this a tipping point where networks start reining in their most controversial voices? Behar's exit is sending shockwaves through the industry, raising critical questions about the future of outspoken TV personalities. Will networks tread more carefully when hiring bold, unfiltered commentators, fearing legal consequences and public backlash? Or will they embrace controversy, knowing it draws attention and fuels ratings? One thing is certain, this scandal isn't just about Joy Behar anymore. It's about the future of who gets to speak freely on national television and what the consequences will be when they do.